Story 1. Traumatic past relationship, not even making it paycheck to paycheck, lonely, overweight, feeling like an outsider in my own family. Take your pick. Story 2. Because I genuinely do not like being alive. The whole experience is just irritating my spirit. I do not feel comfortable here. I am not having fun here. I feel like I am at a rave that everyone says is the best thing ever. But it is just not my thing. There is nowhere else to go. Story 3. Because I have no social life and live in a small town with no events. It does not help my situation. Story 4. At 27, fat, and autistic, I grew up as an Arab kid in post-September 11 America, abused and bullied for as long as I can remember. I have never had a job, never had a girlfriend, and never had money. My family and friends were unsupportive. The only good thing I can say about my life is that I am not Christian, although my life is eerily similar to his in the late 2000s. Story 5. I am depressed because of my lack of success. I guess I am still blessed, so I probably should not stress, right? Story 6. Here is the short list. Getting older, lonely, no job to speak of, and no real hope of getting one anytime soon. No savings. Knowing that as a millennial I have had the rug pulled out from under me so much I am never going to recover. Knowing that at some point my healthcare will be taken away, and I will most likely wind up homeless, dying in a jail cell because being homeless is now illegal. Take your pick. Story 7. My family turned their backs on me. The only time I hear from them is when I am doing well, and it is on their terms. Every opportunity for career advancement has set me back because of my inability to cooperate with corrupt management or take advantage of coworkers' downfalls. During my lowest moments, I resorted to scamming to buy groceries or pay a phone bill. Now, while working entry-level jobs, I am consistently conflicted between holding onto integrity and capitalizing on others' mistakes. Story 8. Recently, I went no contact with both of my parents after 36 years of hoping something would change. With my mother, I hoped she would finally choose me over alcohol. With my father, he has not contacted me in years, and I finally blocked him so I would not have to receive the emotionless "happy birthday" text on Monday. They have been divorced for a long time, and each relationship has been difficult for as long as I can remember. I feel like an orphan whose parents are still alive, although my mother barely is. Adding to the pain, I cannot get a therapist to respond to my inquiries for help. I have contacted 3 with no response. I also cannot get the ketamine clinic to return my calls. This is rock bottom, but I love myself and the inner child inside me. I know that in time I will find happiness. It is just very dark right now. Story 9. Giving my baby boy up for adoption at age 14 against my will. Learning he died at age 16 months, and I never got to hold him, hug him, or meet him. Story 10. My family abandoned me, so now when I fight with my husband, I feel very alone. I stay only for my daughter. Story 11. Well, for starters, my dad is slowly losing his sanity. He is almost 89. He is about to be kicked out of the retirement home where he has only been for a couple of weeks. Nurses claim my dad is having episodes of flying. He used to be a pilot a long time ago before he retired at 60 from Delta Airlines. It is hard to explain this. Therefore, he will have to move back in with his wife, who luckily has a niece coming up from Arkansas to help until we can get dad into a Department of Veterans Affairs medical retirement home. He also has some flashbacks of the Vietnam War, but I would rather not get into that. He is also a fall risk, but I know people his age are either worse or about the same. That is pretty much why I am depressed. Story 12. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. Occasionally, I worked as a server when I felt the need to, but I feel like I gave my whole life to being a mom. Although I am blessed to have had that opportunity, it was draining. Now that my youngest starts school next month, I am preparing to return to work, but I have no idea where to start. Lately, looking back has been upsetting me, making me feel worthless and incompetent, and I feel like I gave up everything. Story 13. My dog is dying much earlier than he would have if I had just gotten my act together and afforded a better home with nothing to stress him out. Story 14. Because of Fallout New Vegas, fans believe it or not. Also, A person on YouTube called The Right Opinion was at least partially responsible. Story 15. I suffer from chronic fatigue and hypersomnia. I have an emaciated and unsatisfactory social circle and have never had any sort of relationship. Of the few chances I've had, it seems like the universe does everything it can to prevent reaching even the first date. I hate my physical flaws and being 28 already, even though I feel like a teenager on the inside. My 20s have been a total disaster filled with existential terror and witnessing the world around me collapse. Story 16. Girlfriend of more than 8 years had a midlife crisis and wanted to be single and wild. I tried to stay friends for a few months for the pets, but it kept affecting me emotionally. I lost the pets, the house, and the job since I had to move. I have no incoming money at the moment. I lost my hobby of making music since I cannot be loud in an apartment. I moved back with family, lost privacy, lost the city I grew to love, neighbors who became friends, and all my old friends have moved around the country. Starting from absolute zero again at 40, and my mental health is feeling it. One of the pets died since I have been gone. Ozzy died this week. Story 17. Because the worst and most evil person on the planet robbed me blind and destroyed my entire life by stalking me across multiple lifetimes. He is insane and followed me to 2 different cities. Story 18. I can't stand my body. My body makes me sick when I compare it to others. Not fat, not overweight, it is its shape or lack thereof. It affects every area of my life, and it feels like I have a giant hole in my spirit where happiness is supposed to be. I ruminate about it often to the point of tears. I am on a waiting list to be diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. The supposed symptoms of that make it much worse. I obsessively think about semi-related thoughts that make me extremely uncomfortable, and it is difficult to stop once it snowballs. There are mundane things that trigger me that nobody normal would even notice, and I am always worried about things outside my control that may start that ball rolling again. Story 19. My job went from manageable stress to relentless, unbearable agony. Since I lost the best job I have ever had in August 2022, life has been hollow. Story 20. Loneliness. I have been working on myself a lot over the past year, so hopefully that will change soon. Story 21. Because I have a broken shunt in my brain, I have lost all of my friends while chasing health problems for over a decade that I am starting to think do not exist. I only have a job because my father gave me one. I believe my past drug and alcohol use, including heavy alcohol consumption, occasional marijuana, and a single use of ketamine, has left me in a permanent state where I feel out of my body. I have started to work out and have seen results, but I do not think it really matters now. I do not see a point in dating, and I am living paycheck to paycheck. I am somewhat hopeful that artificial intelligence will save us and make everything perfect, but I know it does not work that way. Story 22. Reddit. What is the worst thing anyone has ever said to you? What is something you pretend to like but secretly hate? What is the most pain you have ever been in? What celebrity death saddened you the most? What is your biggest flaw? If your grandmother is sick and you cannot take care of her, does that make you a bad person? What do you wish you did not know that ruined something for you? Also Reddit. Why are you depressed? Story 23. Because life is always happening, and it will not stop or change no matter what I do. Clearly, I am doing it wrong. Story 24. Postpartum depression and my husband keeps canceling our date nights before week-long work trips for 6 months. Story 25. I was sexually assaulted when I was 6, mentally abused and neglected by my parents, bullied and ridiculed by everyone at school until I graduated. Very poor. Used in every relationship I have been in for either money or emotionless sex, and I have the knowledge that my life will end up going nowhere. Story 26. Let me start by saying I wish I could hug everyone here who feels depressed. We all need hugs. I am depressed because I thought I was a kind and caring mother. I tried so hard to be available and supportive to my children, but my 44-year-old daughter is filled with anger and hatred, and I can see she is ruining her life. She hates me too and will not listen. She blames me for being miserable when she has the worst taste in men and the relationships never go far. I get afraid when she is around because she starts throwing things. I do not see her much because she lives on the other side of the country. I know I should just let her go and move on with my life and be happy, but I just cannot. My other two adult children think I am crazy for putting up with her abusiveness. Story 27. I am not really depressed, but I sometimes feel down because I feel lost in life. I do not have many friends, I do not have hobbies, and I do not know what profession I want to pursue. Often I create my own problems. Story 28. Lonely, feeling inadequate, and terribly isolated by being completely different from everyone else on this planet. Story 29. My back is in terrible shape due to scoliosis and herniated discs along my spine. My job is very physical. I teach pottery and am constantly moving heavy objects. I was in a car accident that set back my progress with weight training, which had been keeping me mobile enough to do my job pain-free. I feel like I am headed down a path I cannot sustain for long with my job. I am not sure what else to do with my life. It feels like a midlife crisis at this point. I am 37 and have invested a lot in my education. Now I am unsure if the public student loan forgiveness program I should qualify for will still exist by the time I finish my 10-year requirement. Everything is very expensive. Also, Pokemon cards are hard to find, and my husband and I love collecting them together. Thank you for the opportunity to vent. Story 30. Because I am attached to the ideas I have of how my life should be, rather than accepting where I am and working with that. Story 31. I am a freelancer doing digital marketing and a lot more. Sometimes the pressure and uncertainty get heavy, but I keep pushing. Story 32. I lost my parents within 2 months of each other 11 years ago. I wish I had called my mother more and spent more time with my father. I would give both of my arms right now to have one more day with my parents. Instead of getting easier, it seems to be getting worse with every year that passes. I miss them more and more. Story 33. My life has been difficult and continues to be so throughout my entire life. I have had short careers spanning over 50 years with no retirement. I was a victim of financial fraud 7 years ago. I have experienced 2 divorces, thankfully no children, and unfortunately no pets. I constantly live paycheck to paycheck. My mother, father, and only older brother are deceased. I rely on family for housing. I drink coffee, go to work, eat microwave dinners or catered food provided by pharmaceutical representatives. I go home, go to my room, pour several ounces of bourbon or vodka, stream movies and news, set alarms, sleep and wake up. I include showers and daily dental hygiene. Story 34. I have bipolar disorder. I usually experience depressive episodes sometimes. I have these episodes every February and July. I love life and everyone, but still, I feel depressed. Sometimes I feel so depressed that I want to die. Story 35. I can't really get to the bottom of it. I'm trying to find something to occupy myself with, but I don't seem to find anything. I'm just a teenager, but I want to do a lot. I want to know a lot of things, read books, earn money, and help people on YouTube, but it's somehow hard. Story 36. I moved from New York City to Virginia Beach, Virginia when I was 14. My life has never been the same since. People who grew up here do not understand me because I have a different perspective on the world due to where I grew up. Moving here took away many opportunities for me because I am autistic and do not drive. I also face a lot of ableism here because people are less educated than they are in New York City. Story 37. Being gay in a family that would not accept it is difficult. I want to run away with the person I love, but I regret it and feel ashamed because my family has provided me with everything. Once they find out who I really am, they might not accept me. I am constantly trapped in a world where I have to live alone with nobody who truly understands me. I know I need to fix my problems myself, and no one else will do it for me, but it still hurts to feel alone in this. Story 38. I can write a whole message about my life, but deaths, mean people, no money, and other people pretty much sum it up. Story 39. Childhood trauma, chronic health conditions, no friends, no money. Have you seen the world lately? Story 40. My 10-year relationship ended because he was cheating on me for 10 months with a coworker. It started right after I gave birth to our daughter. Story 41. Even though I am fortunate to be born a human among all animal species and in a safe country protected from diseases, I still feel very sad. I don't look great, my life is boring. We do nothing but wake up and eat, which has been the same since the coronavirus pandemic, and I dislike my family except for my niece, who is the only reason I am sometimes happy. But I have no money, no beauty, no friends, and nothing else. Story 42. Broke up with my partner of 10 years. She has since moved on. My dog died about 8 months later. My grandfather recently passed away, and a girl I was seeing ended the relationship because I couldn't get my life together. That, along with everything else going on in the world. Story 43. I have a girlfriend, but I do one thing wrong, and that becomes the highlight of our relationship. Recently, I started my job, and I am dedicated to it because I need to earn money, so I cannot make time during office hours to chat with her. I have explained this to her multiple times, but all I receive is, "You have changed. You were not like this earlier." Story 44. Because I do not have to work and sit at home all day with nothing to do besides housework, day in and day out every single day. I want to work, but... Story 45. I do not want my family to suffer because of my poor decisions. I do not want my daughter to grow up seeing me in constant stress. Story 46. No job, and also ended things with the girl I found attractive, but ended it because I knew it would cause problems in the future. Story 47. Well, I'm 34 and don't have the confidence or the money to try and date anyone, despite working 50 to 60 hours a week. We have a criminal as our president. My parents are getting older, and I do my best to be around for them since my sister moved to another country. My dog died last year. There's probably more, but I'm getting tired just typing this. I have to be up at 5 tomorrow, so I should probably rest. But I won't. I'll watch some low-quality videos on YouTube for another hour before my eyelids get too heavy and I finally drift off. Hopefully, I don't get hit by sleep paralysis tonight. Story 48. My body is betraying me. It has been one health issue after another for the past couple of years, and the latest problem threatens to leave me permanently disabled. It is draining my bank account at a time when I need to hold on to every dollar. Story 49. I am autistic and struggle heavily with holding a job because I get burned out very quickly, often to the point of feeling suicidal. However, I cannot keep job hopping like I do. I have no idea what my other options are besides an endless cycle of getting a job, working for a few months, becoming burned out over time, feeling suicidal within 3 or 4 months, quitting and repeating the process. Story 50. More than 25 years of battling with my own mind. There are reasons not to give up, but the obsessive-compulsive disorder and autism spectrum disorder combination can be so much to handle for so long. I am about to give up, but there is still some fighting spirit in me. Story 51. Because I feel as if I don't deserve to be happy or loved. I have been dealing with so much loneliness and betrayals from people who were close to me. That caused tremendous trust issues, and now I'm on my own. Don't get me started on finding a potential partner. That is another challenge on its own. I gave up on that. I don't know what my future holds, but for now, I guess all I can do is hope for the best. Story 52. I just miss my dad. He was deported back in 2023. The day before he was taken by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, he wanted to see me, but I was too tired. Not a moment goes by that I don't think about that because he was taken, and I couldn't give him a final hug or a final kiss on the cheek. I can always call him to tell him that I love him, but I can't hug him, and that hurts me deeply. He is my best friend, and he's gone far away, and I can't afford to go see him. Story 53. I got my degree, I worked hard, sacrificed my young summers to boring internships, and spent many Saturday nights finishing assignments, but I am no better off than any of my high school friends who went to work straight out of school. In fact, I am doing worse. They all have 3 to 5 years of experience at their jobs. They were able to prioritize their social lives more, and they are not in any student loan debt. They all look so happy. What did I work for? Why did I learn all of those things? I am no better off than I was 5 years ago, so all of that work was for nothing. Story 54. Childhood sexual abuse, childhood and adulthood abuse, bullying, harassment. Not progressing in life. Unable to fulfill personal goals. Story 55. I overthink much of what I do when I am around people I like, and I am too hard on myself because of it. Story 56. No money, bad teeth, abusive parents causing me post-traumatic stress disorder that made it difficult to care for myself, cardiomyopathy, atrial fibrillation, arrhythmia. Friends do not talk to me much anymore, and my partner does not want to hang out as much lately. Story 57. Broke, worse off than I was at 23. Unable to make any real progress toward growth without investing money I do not have in good faith to institutions that almost exclusively take advantage of you. Story 58. Seeing the condition of the world, I do not know all these starving people struggling to make ends meet and women who get assaulted every day like it is nothing. The planet is dying. It just makes me sick every time I think about it. And it is all these humans' faults. Story 59. Chemical imbalance and the fact that my $18,000 a year treaties have been eroded by inflation and the upcoming tariffs. Story 60. I have moments where you sit and think, wow, no one truly cares about you other than family. People are fake. They ask if you are okay, but they do not actually want to listen to you. You feel alone. Most people feel alone, but they do not admit it, so now you feel like the strange one. Story 61. I have not lost my virginity yet. I feel I am not worthy enough for anyone because I do not fit a stereotype. Story 62. The hospital caused me brain damage. I lost my place in a flood and now live at my late grandmother's unit. She died due to negligence by the same hospital. My boyfriend is not responsible with money, and I am overspending because of my poor self-control. I feel trapped in a world that makes no sense to me. I can't connect with people, and it seems most have lost their empathy and awareness. Every day I lie in bed crying, thinking about my past. My first kiss was with the same person who later sexually assaulted me. All of my past boyfriends have been either psychologically or physically abusive. I have been losing my mind recently, and no one around me seems to react or care. I am truly alone, surrounded by people who seem to want me to suffer. Because of the hospital, I now have post-traumatic stress disorder and have spent the last few months adjusting to my brain no longer functioning properly, with my short-term memory worsening. I cry from frustration multiple times a day. The thought of doing anything at all fills me with anger and dread. I feel myself growing in hatred toward those who have wronged me and wish they would suffer. I just want peace. I do not want to be bitter and mentally ill. I often support others, but lately I cannot even stand being near them. The thought of hanging out with friends makes me sick because I am not sure if reality is real anymore, and I feel like I am being tortured or manipulated. Story 63. I have no confidence and no experience with women. I am 35 years old. The lack of confidence has me feeling permanently stuck. Story 64. Coworkers act like they are funny by being rude whenever the opportunity arises. They act like they know everything about me, but I barely share anything with them. Literally, I talk a lot, but I am not loose-lipped. I have put my foot down and they want to act like victims. On top of that, relationship problems that I will not go into detail about. The failing world around me. Lastly, wanting change that I cannot seem to force myself to do. No motivation. Edit. I would not say I am depressed, but I guess you could also say that. Story 65. After 8 years of untreated postpartum depression, my brain struggles to recover, but I am making progress 4 years after starting treatment for the first time. With the way we live today and all the information we are bombarded with, and fear being emphasized to the maximum, it is very difficult not to feel depressed, I believe. If you live in a city, lead a fast-paced life, have no significant savings, no hope for a comfortable old age, no community to belong to, if you are far away from your family or your family is abusive, it is extremely difficult to balance your brain chemistry. We are not built to live this way. Story 66. Heartbreak and postpartum depression left me stuck in bed for a year. My daughter is 3 years old. There were unexpected deaths within the family. My daughter's father, after living together for 6 months, withheld his real name from me. I introduced him under an alias. Unbeknownst to me, he abandoned me and our daughter soon after. I wasn't perfect, but I still have a hard time processing all of this. Many days I feel out of place. Story 67. I can't even answer why. I'm still figuring it out, but I know that I am. It is like an uninvited guest barging in for no apparent reason. It is a struggle I am working through, and it is hard. Perhaps the need to be understood is what I am looking for. Somehow, our feelings and low energy can only be worked out with time and within ourselves. It should get better over time. Story 68. Partied through my 20s and had a good career as a carpenter. I went on to be a site foreman but injured my back at 27. Work became less and less until I had to quit. I was self-employed with no money coming in. My mood got worse. Then I started taking ketamine, which was brilliant at first. It lifted my mood and took away the pain. A couple of years after abusing it, I now have scarring and inflammation in my bladder. I was taking it at a rate where I did not want to wake up the next day. Can be so painful I cannot move. I urinate more than 30 times a day. Chronic pain and loneliness were the reasons I could not stop myself. It is so embarrassing, and I have not been able to tell the people closest to me because I did not want to disappoint them further due to my poor decision-making. I have always been the black sheep. I need to find something to live for. I am currently in recovery and have been clean for 8 weeks. I still get pains most days. I hope the grass gets greener. Story 69. I have lost some physical strength while being on a cutting phase. I will get back to my previous level, but right now I can barely do 3 to 4 repetitions of my normal 5 repetition sets, and it is frustrating. Story 70. Health issues. My eczema is ruining my life. I had an abortion a week ago that I did not want, but my partner did not want the pregnancy, so I had to go through with it. I feel a bit down, have low self-esteem, and feel a bit lost. Story 71. Been through more challenges than most. I can handle more too. I mean, things happen, but no one should take their luck for granted. Story 72. I was depressed because the woman I want would not reach out to me, yet she had been in secret contact with my former friends for years. Then I realized she very likely had a relationship with one of them, so I stopped loving both her and my former companions. That is how I stopped being depressed. Story 73. I have messed up my first true relationship with a kind woman. We really liked each other. Our hobbies matched a lot. Motorbiking, traveling, eating, and I have never experienced anything like this before, and probably never will, especially at nearly 40. I rarely have success on dating sites because I am just average. I hardly get the chance to meet someone in person who is single and emotionally stable. I also have mild Asperger's syndrome and not very strong social skills. Story 74. Because of my restrictive upbringing, if I did something above and beyond, I would hear, "What for? There is no point in doing it." Having a narcissistic and depressive parent can negatively affect your brain. Story 75. Creator of heaven and earth, Lord God Almighty who lives forever and ever, is coming soon. Repent, ask Christ into your heart, be born again, and receive the free gift of the Holy Spirit which is from heaven. Depression, anxiety, the whispers, emptiness of the soul, and fear of death are gone. True love, joy, peace, hope, purpose, blessing, and eternal life are found. King James Version, John 3 verses 3 to 7 and 3:16-21. Story 76. I will never be able to find love, at least in my current situation. I grew up in a very conservative Muslim family, and all of my relatives have had arranged marriages. The thing is, I am gay. I did not tell them because I know it will only bring problems, and in any case, they will not accept me or worse. Moreover, my parents are over-controlling my life. It is common in our community to have strict parents, but mine are on another level. The only friends I could make were those whom my parents know personally because they were friends with their parents. They do not let me go out, even with these friends. Basically, I have no social life, and now I feel really anxious in any social context because I am not used to talking to people or going out. I know that in my current situation, I am not able to have any relationship and I am kind of afraid of the future. It is difficult. By the way, I am an 18-year-old male. Story 77. There is too much to address, but chronic illness combined with mental health issues, for which I am struggling to get help and being single. Story 78. Since my ex-girlfriend of 8 years and I broke up, she got with another man 2 months later. I have been in a deep depression since then. Story 79. Well, I beat cancer, but the insurance I paid into for 34 years told me it is not covered. Where do I find $28,000? I now understand why people die at the hands of anger. Story 80. My father is absent because he was arrested for child abuse. We had to sell our home, and I am living with my grandparents, mother, and sisters. I have not spoken to my father for 6 months. I miss him and feel guilty for missing him because he did something wrong. I really do not know what else to say. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.